Welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Hello and welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. Another special guest. And the name is not so easy to pronounce, but I practice a little bit. Dr. Susanne Cappendijk. I hope this is right, or people call her Dr. C. Welcome, Susanne. Happy to have you here. And it's just amazing what she has achieved within 2 years. Please introduce yourself. What are you doing? And what is your passion that brings you to this podcast?
Well, thank you, first of all, Susanne, for inviting me. It's an honor to be in your program. I started like EDsnaps, our non-profit organization, 3 years ago. My family and I have lived in Tallahassee for numerous years, and we started expanding our other company. And based upon my skills and based upon my interest in mentoring in Florida, I suddenly found myself without any mentees in like New York City. So then I was wondering, should I join an organization? I joined an organization, and then one day it dawned on me when I was taking the subway back from the Bronx, why don't I start my own nonprofit organization focusing on female identifying students? There's a huge need. I had a lot of experience in that one because I was doing this for many, many years, the mentoring. And that is mentoring mainly in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math, because I'm a neuroscientist by training, and that's where my passion lies, also in my interest. I drove back with the subway car, and I called my husband, who was still back in Florida, and I said, I want to start my own nonprofit organization. And he says, I'm coming over for the holidays. What do you need? I said, I need a logo, and the rest I can set up myself and see how it goes. So long story short, we started in April 2007, and now we are starting our third year almost with running the programs. And it has been fantastic. We work with middle school students. We worked in the school system. We're currently more focused on working through the community centers, because I discovered, and I think I'm not alone in that one, I discovered that working through the community centers, the families are more involved. So we work now mainly with middle school students and early high school students, and reaching out to the families around it, to the mothers, to the grandmothers, to other caretakers. It's that whole package you're getting there, and lowering the entry barriers for students who are interested in science, technology, engineering, and math, but don't know how to do that. What we're offering them is, in our programs, we offer, first of all, a safe environment, but we also offer it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not know things. It's okay to ask questions. There are no dumb questions. Ask me questions. We problem solve. We lower that barrier, but by having them being picked up by their mothers, by their grandmothers, we engage them as well. We invite them in the classroom. You can come in at any time. Even moms can join our workshop if the student allows it, of course. So that is where my passion lies, is involving the whole family, involving everybody around the student, to give the resources, to give the support to make these kids successful, no matter where they are, what their education is, no matter what their socioeconomic relationships or status is. We care for the student as a whole. That's mainly my passion.
That's fantastic. And I want to give some statistics. So between 2017 and 2019, I read 650 plus high school students, 60 plus elementary and middle school students, and 15 college enrolled students in leadership development programs.
That's correct.
Congratulations. This is a lot of work and a lot of hours and dedication. And I'm wondering, so you said you're including also the family. So it's kind of like when we think about leadership, we need to have buy-in. The family is also, yes, we want to send our girls to the STEM programs. And we know the STEM programs are super important. The kids, they earn more money if they study STEM. Tell us maybe one example of what are you providing to the students in STEM? What do they learn there?
They learn a lot of things. One of the things that I think is very important is that the children are being exposed to different disciplines of STEM. You can easily make a whole math camp or a coding camp. But what we are doing is we're taking the whole scala. So I try to design curriculum for students that are very interested. So we incorporate arts in that. So for example, we did a unit on pie pointillism. That might sound really like simple, but it's like the pie that we eat, the pie that you use in geometry, and the pointillism is a form of like arts where they work with little dots. So a little dot has a diameter. You can measure the pie, the circumference around it. So when we tie that all together, the students, they learn about arts, they learn about the artist, but they also learn about the math. And math doesn't have to be difficult. Math is fun. And those things we're learning, we also invite people over that are like practitioners, for example, in STEM. So we just had like a recent college student that just like got her degree. So she teaches our student the vital signs. So what is the vital sign? But then we tie that to making your own stethoscope. So they have to start problem solving with a plastic tube and a funnel. And then we're taking that one into like building a lie detector. Because when you have a lie detector and you're lying a lot, your hands start sweating. But also your heartbeat can change, or like your heart rhythm can change. There are certain things that we know. So if we're building our own lie detector, we can work through sweat, but you can also tie that to the vital signs they are learning. Currently, we're working on a coding, like cards or decoding that goes into that lie detector, that goes into the vital signs. But we also turn that into a Christmas card because we do string art on that coding card. So it's like tying everything together, make them in a playful way, show them that you need math everywhere. You need language everywhere. But sitting down and say, okay, open the books on page 12. No, that's not what we're doing. We're giving them a hands-on experience. That hands-on experience is translated into somebody who comes from like the society and comes down to them, who is a role model to them and shows them what they have done in their lives, and then apply it to the girls and do an exercise with them. And then maybe they have an interest in becoming a nurse. Maybe they have becoming an interest in becoming a statistician. Maybe they want to go in civil engineering. But I don't tell them what to do with their lives. I show them like, look, these are opportunities. If you like it, well, ask me, and then I'll set you up with somebody who works in that field, who can be your mentor, and then we talk more about that. And then we have events where we invite a lot of people from the community, and kids can make like kind of like a speed dating event. They talk with them for like 3 to 5 minutes, and they tell them what they do. They get advice. After 5 minutes, we ring a bell, and then we go to the next mentor. So being exposed to resources, being exposed to books, to websites, to people in the society, to every age, every gender, every race. It doesn't matter. Everybody is included here. And just ask questions.
This is so cool. I wish when I grew up something like this would have happened to me. And when you say math is fun, I can understand that the way you describe it. For me, math was absolutely not fun. It also depends on the teacher. You have people from the industries that you invite. You certainly have the background in neuroscience, but also the business background. That's what the kids, and especially the girls, can learn. How can I be like Dr. Z? So what advice do you give the girls?
Well, I don't think there should be a lot of me, because a lot of me is too much maybe for somebody and some people. But it's like, you never give up. I was born in a very small village in the Netherlands. We had like 500 inhabitants. People of color were not in our village, because that was like simply, it's such a rural area. There was no job. It's farmers industry, agriculture. But my dad, he worked at a company where he worked with physically and mentally handicapped people. So I saw these type of people all around, and they were sitting at our table for for lunch, for dinner, no matter who came by, you're always welcome. And for me, I didn't see the person with the disease. I just saw the person. And that is how I was always how I always treated people. So for me, it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, where you come from. If your heart is in the right place and you want to learn, that is an important part for me as well. And that is what I see in these students. They want to learn. So what I do is I offer them something to learn, because my mom, she sent me with my dad to take your girls or take your kid to work. They think it's new invention here. Well, we did that in the 1970s already, because my mom actually, she was a little bit tired of me because I was asking so many questions. She's like, maybe you should go with your dad for a day to work. And then he took me to work, and I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old. Having that exposure, and it might not have been the exposure that people think now is really cool and really sexy, but I learned you can contribute no matter what you know and what your age is. It doesn't matter. So all these students, I learned from these students as well, and they learned from me. So it's like never giving up, always keep on learning and focus. And sometimes you lose your path a little bit, and there are things that you sometimes doubt upon yourself. If I would have stepped out of academia or out of corporate, every time people said to me, oh, you shouldn't do that, that's too hard, or oh, that's too difficult. Sometimes I tell the girls and the other students, I said, if I could have gotten $1 for every time they said that to me, I wouldn't have to raise money for grants and wouldn't have to raise money for programs, because I could have gotten with that money away with it and run my full program and pay 5-6 staffers full time the whole year round. So that is, if you're listening to other people, don't do that. I mean, they might mean well, but some don't mean well. And that is one of the things that I'm thinking, be critical, but be also open. Because you get advice from everybody. It could be from the bus driver that you take the bus, or it could be from somebody high ranking in a company, and take the advice and digest it, think it over, and ask for more advice if you need more.
Wow. I think these are just the best advice. Be curious, ask questions, never give up, join those programs that Dr. C is offering. I saw some pictures, and I will certainly upload some pictures, that everybody looks so cute and interesting. Cute is not the right word, but they just want to be part of it, and they want to learn. And
but they are focused, and that is what you try to do. You try to engage them and put that little seed of hey, I can do it. And that is an important part. And I mean, I come from my training was in drug of abuse. So I studied dependence of mainly animals, but also I interact with a lot of people. Why are you feeling that you need to take a drug, or why do you need to take this or need to take that? And we had it over the summer and I released that just in the MailChimp that we just released last week. It's one of these students said, she's I realized I could do a few hours without my cell phone. Some people were
good.
See, so I was wow, that is the best compliment that I could get directly from a student, because it means they forgot about their cell phone. I mean, see, of all these people, you enter a couch in the subway. Everybody's on their cell phone. They think they need it. No, you don't. And this is exactly what these students, they can't go to a weekend, a corporate weekend, and debug from their phone for $5,000. But if they tell me in my program, oh, I realized I could be without my cell phone for a few hours, that means that is the strength of our program, the impact we're having. It's perfectly fine. And they can be themselves, and they know they can goof around. And then when it's time to focus on your experiment or focus on the speaker, be respectful to everybody that comes in our program, and then you can be. And I set very clear boundaries, and that is, I think, an important part. And I see that sometimes missing now is like there are no boundaries. The same with like educating your own children, or like, raising your own children. There are boundaries there. Mm-hmm. Cross my boundary one time, okay, that could be, you had a bad day, or maybe I had a bad day. We both had a bad day at the same time, but you get a warning, and you get your second chance, because everybody deserves a second chance. But if you're crossing the boundary again, you're out of the program. Mm-hmm. And then the students start complaining, you can't do that. Oh, yes, I can. Sure. Because you're here on a certain terms and conditions. And you have to learn, and better learn it here in the program than learn it at a job where you're getting fired. So it's kind of like making that real life training, the realization there. But, it's like that is kind of the things that we're working on. And you make mistakes. And I got a second chance when I grew up. So why not give it to somebody else everywhere that I interact with? So that's an important part. But they learn the boundaries and cross them, and you get into trouble, and then you get back and you get out of trouble, and we forgive and forget, and we move on.
Fantastic. It's the only word I find here. It's about setting boundaries, but on the other hand, we need to push the envelope. We need to train them to push the envelope a little bit. It's about mentorship. So I think this program is just really set up for success. So I wish you great success. I hope to hear more in the coming years, and also be involved. In the show notes, we certainly have information how people can be involved. Good luck, Dr. Z, and we want to see you on TV and everywhere, and with good press, right?
Well, yep. Thank you so much for inviting me, and it was a pleasure.
Okay, thank you. How cool was that to learn about STEM and the involvement of the community? Next week, we will hear how you can be involved in the leadership program. Stay tuned. Every Monday is a new episode. Take it from the Iron Woman. See you soon. Thank you for your review.